Hey guys, it's day 2 at VidCon and I'm about to get ready for my panel. This video is gonna be getting ready with me. So I already had my breakfast. I was gonna film it, but I didn't want to draw too much attention because there were people around. Had a little egg white omelet with some zucchini and tomato, little avocado and gluten-free toast, which was actually really yummy. So now I'm back in the room and I'm about to get ready for my panel. My hair actually kind of lasted okay overnight. I really like day-old hair because I like the texture it has. It's a little dirty and it's actually easier to kind of work with. So I'm gonna throw it up in a shower cap, take a quick shower, and then I'll see you in a few minutes for the next step of getting ready. Hello again. Okay, so now that we're all showered and ready to go here, because I like my hair from the night before, I'm just gonna kind of blow out like I did in that video a couple months ago for you guys. Now I'm just gonna blow out the sides and the bangs and it's gonna all look great and fresh. So while I do that though, because you know I'm in California, but I live on the East Coast, so I'm a little jet lagged, so I need a little bit of help under here. So I'm gonna add my little eye pads while I'm doing my hair so that right after my hair is done, I can go right into doing my makeup. So let's just apply these so they can be on there as long as possible because we need all the help we can get right now. So then you just stick these things, and these are really cool because they help a lot with puffiness. They look cool because they're gold. I have other ones that I really like too that are these great collagen ones, but sometimes these are easier because the collagen ones are really like swoopy and I have to cut the corners off. And right now, these were actually the most convenient to grab and I really like these, so we're just gonna do these right now. So then my hair is a little wet from the shower, but I always like it to be a little damp around the whole hairline, so I'm just gonna kind of wet a little bit just with my fingers, my fingies. And then now we're just gonna blow it out, just like I showed you guys in that video. So I'm just doing the sides, pulling it straight down. I really like kind of like getting a grip on there, and then just pulling it straight down. Just makes it really smooth. So the trick is to get a really good grip and kind of put it in there and turn it so you get a good grip on there and then pull it straight down. Okay, so then you want to find your part, whatever part you want to do. I usually like slightly off the center, so we'll do the same thing. Sometimes if you have these little cowlicks, because I got these little cowlicks, like you really got to hook the brush in there pretty close and then pull it straight out, but it really helps smooth those out. All right, cool. And because my hair is naturally a little bit curly and frizzy, I always put a straightening iron through it after I blow dry it, no matter what. Even with the day-old hair. Grab my little ceramic straightener, which I love. It can get really hot and doesn't damage the hair as much as the metal does, which is very cool because I've used straighteners for a long time and I use the metal ones for years. And the ceramic ones are so much better. So now that my straightening iron's hot, I'm just gonna take a little bit of oil. And because I put oil all through my hair yesterday, you know, today, because it's just the day old hair and I was kind of like touching it up, you don't have to put it through every layer. You just definitely wanna get it over the top and then just kind of through your hair a little bit. Okay, so now that this is hot enough, I'm just gonna kind of go through and piecemeal where I think I need to kind of like touch up some bumps from where I was sleeping or whatever. Okay, this is a little bumpy under here. You can tell that under the black hair, there's like these hues of red peeking out again. Maybe that's a sign that I need to go back to red soon. We shall see. Okay, so I'm gonna get to this top and the other side, and then I'll kind of get underneath where the pillow might have messed up my hair. And I also kind of like some natural wave that already kind of got in there. So I don't want to straighten it all out, just the stuff that looks kind of, messy. It's actually really hard to get cool looking like day old hair. Like getting like beach hair, like lived in beach hair is actually really hard. Whenever I've had to do shoots or anything where they were trying to do that look, I took twice as long. So now I'm just gonna get under here And then we can move to makeup. Just gonna put this in a little bun. So then you just wanna get under here. So now that I straightened up my little hairs on the bottom there, they should be good to go. Looks pretty good, it's dirty, it's a little messy, but it looks like I intentionally did that. So this is cool. Now we're gonna take these off. And whenever you do any kind of like eye pads, the stuff that gets in your eye, you want to keep it there. You don't want to then wash it off. You want to kind of rub it in and work it in, put a little bit of moisturizer, and then put your makeup on top of it. So the next step is going to be to do my makeup. I'm going to move my hot tools away, and I'll be back in a second. So the first thing I do before I do my makeup is I always wash my hands. I always add a little bit of moisturizer, and then I always add my sunscreen too, because my skin's so sensitive and it's crazy sunny here. And even if it's cloudy, I always use sunscreen. But right now I've been really into GRWM, which is this great brand, and they try to do the right stuff with their products, and my skin just really likes it. Not too much, just a little bit, because I already moisturize after the shower. And then a little bit of eye cream. And all the stuff from my little iPad's already absorbed. And then this is this organic sunscreen that I love. It's called Kula, and again, my skin never reacts weirdly to it, and it sits well under makeup, which I really like. And it's pretty matte, you know? Like sometimes sunscreen makes you really shiny, especially because I'm wearing a little V-neck, so you want to bring it down onto your neck. Concealer, always my favorite part, because after you have concealer on, you look like alive. So when I do my concealer, I like to mix. This is more of like a stick, and it's a little thicker. And then this one is more of a liquid concealer, and I actually like to mix them together. I used to mix a stick with moisturizer, but then I figured out this trick of mixing it with just a thinner, more liquid concealer. You don't lose any coverage, which is great. So you guys already saw this in a previous video, so I'm not gonna explain all of it, but let's get to work. Just dabbing this in here. And especially with concealers, I really like using my finger, because I feel like with the warmth of your fingers and the makeup, it just really kind of works into the skin really nicely. And then when I do an overall concealer, that's when I'll use like a brush, which I'll show you. Just gonna use my finger to really like work it into the corners, into the areas where, you know, it gets red, and my eyes get a little like purple because my skin is kind of translucent, so you see like the little like blue veins and stuff. So with my finger, I can like cover that. And then right around the outside, I do a little bit more of the thicker one, just so it kind of stays put. Oops, great. Wearing a white t-shirt and doing my makeup, not smart. Whatever. So then after I have it around my eyes, then I do around my nose, and then I do my chin. And then if you have little blemishes and stuff you'd like to cover, then I usually use the stick to cover that, so it kind of stays put. So then just like, you know, touch up wherever you have a little blemish or anything. Gotta love concealer. And then my overall concealer that I do, or foundation, is this one, and I use this fat brush to do like a nice sheen over the whole thing. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I really like working it in with this brush, because you never want people to see the makeup, you know what I mean? You really wanna work it in as much as you can. And then you always wanna blend. So you wanna make sure you blend your jawline down onto your neck. Okay, so now we're gonna do some powder. I like to use a pad like this around the eyes to really kind of set it in. And then with the brush, I'll do a loose kind of sheen all over the whole thing. So it's just like a nice little coat. And I love the brush because it doesn't look heavy, but you still get the coverage. And then again, the pad to just kind of really push in the powder and concealer around your eyes and your chin and your nose. Okay, cool, so now we have to contour. We always like contour. So this is a cream contour stick I have. So you just wanna kind of follow that natural line on your cheek and then blend up. It's all about contour. So then it kind of really helps, you know, accentuate cheekbones. And I always do a line, just a little, very light line down both sides of the nose. And then with a powdered contour, I'll just do a little over that. And again, always brushing up under the cheekbone. And then with this also, then you line under your jawbone. You wouldn't believe what makeup artists can do with contour and cameras. It's just so cool. But these are also like cool little tricks just use in your daily life that aren't too overwhelming. They look natural, but it just, you know, I always like makeup that's natural, but this kind of accentuates what you have. But that's not so much that people are like, whoa, what's going on with your makeup? And then other times you want to glam it up more, that's great. But for something, you know, like the VidCon thing, it's more chill, and you know, I don't want to do like a full entire thing of makeup. I want to look like me, but just with, you know, a little help. Now we're gonna do blush, which again, because I can use my fingers and the warmth of it really pushes it into the skin, I like using a cream blush. I don't like bringing it too far in because my cheeks naturally get rosy, so I don't like moving it too far in because then I look really flush, which I don't want. I just want like a nice healthy glow. So I just bring it down my cheekbone to like right into the middle of my eye line. I don't really go past that. But see, it's just like a little healthy glow, which is nice. I also like the creamy because it looks really natural when you can like really push it into your skin. And then there's certain looks, like if you're doing like an old school like glam look, then a powder blush, you know, is more appropriate for that. It just depends on what you want to do. For me in my everyday normal makeup, or like for something like VidCon, which is, you know, more cash, this is just my normal like daily makeup, which is cool. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is my black lash line, because my lashes are really light. So I like putting a little dark line underneath, which helps define them. And then I do a little line along the top with my little cat flip that we talked about. So this is one of my favorite things that I do with my makeup is I get a little flat square brush like that. And these are 2 liquid liners that I like. So this one, sometimes I use a little pot, but I just didn't bring it with me because I'm traveling. But this is a nice black liner that's waterproof. This, I'll just, you know, wet this brush with the black liner and then just put it up under my lash line. So I'm gonna look in the mirror and I have to get close so you guys won't be able to see it. But this is exactly what I showed you guys on the makeup video tutorial that I did previously. So I'm just gonna lean in and do this quickly. Already you can see the difference. See the little definition here now? And now I'm about to do this side, but this is only from doing underneath. I haven't even done the top yet, but it's such a difference already. This eye already looks like bing, like open, which is very cool. You want to use waterproof because obviously it's like under your eye and it's going to be getting wet. So if you don't use waterproof, it tends to transfer a lot easier, which you don't want. So I tend to use waterproof so it stays put a little bit. You still have to worry about transfer anyway, but I find that the waterproof really helps. Now, a lot of times I'll use an angled brush like this to do the top. And then sometimes, because I don't want to bring as much stuff with me when I'm traveling, I'll just do it with this, with just like a regular black, you know, liquid pen. So for purposes of traveling, when I'm really trying to like make my everything I'm traveling with smaller, we're gonna do this. And again, because this is kind of a casual thing, I'm not gonna do a crazy huge line. I just want a little accent. So now I'm gonna do the little cat flip, little flippy. Super natural, very chill, but it makes a huge difference in making your eye pop, which I love. See the difference? It's like that versus that. Makes a difference. Cool. So now, while this is drying, because you don't want to go right to curling your lashes, people do this differently. I always like doing a black line, curling my lashes, and then just touching up the black line. There's plenty of people who curl their lashes first, and then do the black line, but for me, when you then put like a wet line, it makes your lashes flatten out. So I like doing a black line like we just did, curling my lashes, putting on mascara, and then once it's dried, then you just touch up where the curler might have taken some of the black off. And that's what I've been doing for years, and it's just how I like doing it, because every other time I curl my lashes first, they never like stay up. Okay, cool, so now that the black line is on, before I curl my lashes and do mascara, I want it to dry. So while we're doing that, we're gonna fill in our brows and do a little eyeshadow. So for the brows, I like using a powder. So this is this Kevin Aucoin palette that I love. It has a cream, a bunch of different browns. As you can tell, I use it a lot. For my brows, I mix these two. As you can see, they're the most used. I'm just gonna fill in, this is a tiny little brush that I have, and I literally mix them. And I always use my hand as my palette. So I mix them and I always kind of dab it on my hand to check the color. So now you just start filling in your brows. And I like using powder because I feel like it looks the most natural. So I just follow my natural eyebrow line. A little swoop down at the edge. With this brush, you can use any kind of, I also have just little mascara brushes that you can buy at any drugstore. You can use, this kind of brush, something like that. This is just one that I got with a fatter base, which I like. So for me, I always brush my eyebrows down in the front, then up in the arch, bring the ends down. So it's like a nice shape. Some people just brush them straight up. It's however you want to shape it for your face, because your eyebrows really help shape your face. And that's just something that I've always done. My mom actually taught me that when I was a teenager, and this is how she would do her brows, which is very funny. It's crazy the things we learned from our parents as kids. They just stay with us and are so ingrained in us. So this is something that she taught me that I still do. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna do the other brow. You just want it to look nice and even. My mom taught me so many old school tricks before I ever got into acting or anything. She taught me so many makeup tricks. The only thing is I'm all about blending and looking natural. She did not blend. And that was the only thing where I'm like, you need to blend, woman. And she never would. But that was her thing. She liked having like the very intense, severe eyeshadow, and she didn't blend. But that's fine. That was her thing, and she loved it, and she was beautiful. So, but for me, these little things that she taught me, I then just kind of tweak it. I try to go for the au naturel thing. So now we're gonna do some shadow. I have this palette that I love. It's got all these beautiful pinks, purple, there's a green and a blue. And I actually wore this blue outfit for one of my panels, and I added a little bit of blue shadow, and looks very cool actually. So, but this is just because today's a very chill panel, I'm just gonna do what I normally do. So I always do this pink as a base. So I have two brushes, and I have a light stem and a dark stem. So I know that this is always my light shadow and this is always my dark, because I've also made the mistake of doing my contour with the dark one, and then you're like, oh my God, you have to redo it. So light brush, the contouring pink that I like. So what I do is I just go like that right in here in the crease, and then up and down in the corner. I also showed you guys this on the makeup video. And I love it because it just opens up your eye. It's like, I don't know if you can see it because the shadowing in here is kind of strange, but if you do it in the crease and then up and down in the corner, but you only want to do this with your light contouring color. If you do it with your dark color and up and down the corner, then you start to look like Cruella de Vil or something. So you have to be careful. But with the light color, it just becomes a contour and it just opens up your eye. And even here, you can kind of tell this eye looks a little more open because it's like a natural contour. This was a trick I learned from a makeup artist, and it was awesome. And now I do it every time. So in the crease, straight up and down in the corner, just opens everything out. You can also do it with a really light brown. Doing this with a really light brown is great. Because my skin is a little pinky, I tend to use the pink one, but just find whatever your light color is in your contour palette. Like as example, this is a great contour palette. So you could use one of the lighter browns for the contour. You just have to be careful. Make sure it's pretty light depending on the tone of your skin and how much contour you want, just kind of play around with that. So the next thing we're gonna do is to add dimension, because I like adding dimension with the contour and the shadow in the eye. It's like I'm all about just dimension, and again, just kind of accentuating what you already have. Now what I'll do is I'll take some of the dark and I'll just do it in the crease, and then I do a little circle at the end. Circle, circle, and then bring it in. So then again, it just adds a nice kind of gradual contour. This is also what I learned from the makeup artist who taught me about the thing I just taught you guys, but then with the darker color, you go in the crease and then you do a little circle on the outside, and then bring it back in, little circle, bring it in. And it just, I don't know what is up. It makes such a difference. So I don't know if you can see like the gradual of the contour, but it's rad. I love this trick. Okay, so line's done, shadow's done. Now we're gonna do the lashes. I'm just gonna curl my lashes with my Shoot Umaro eyelash curler. And because my eyes are wider, sometimes this lash curler doesn't get the ends. So I just bought this on Amazon. It's a little tiny corner crimper. So I'll curl my lashes, I'll crimp the corners, and then I use really cheap mascara. And I love cheap mascara. Look, it's all like faded because I mean, I literally, this is like the stuff I really use. This is just, I think it's called Lash Discovery, and I actually forgot who makes it because the title is off of it, but it's a really thin brush, which I love, so you can get really close to the lash line. And I find that expensive mascaras are really wet. So when you curl your lashes and you've done all this work, and then you put this like heavy designer mascara on, and then my lashes start to flop down, it totally bums me out. So I found that using cheaper mascara from like the drugstore, it's a little drier and it stays up, which is great. So this Lash Discovery stuff I like. And another thing, it's so weird, whenever I fall in love with stuff, it like gets discontinued. I'm not sure why, but this for some reason has been hard to find. So like I remember the last one I had to like scour the internet to find it. Okay, so let's curl like this, corner, and then mascara. I'm gonna lean in, so you're not gonna be able to see what I'm doing, but this is exactly what I did on the previous video for you guys when I showed the makeup. Okay, so you can see how a little bit of the black line came off, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier, because I really get my eyelash curler up in there. So then after we do mascara, we'll just, again, with this, we just touch it up after the mascara is all dry. Okay, so I curled with this. Now I'm gonna do the corners and then 2 coats of mascara. So I just put my mascara on and it's dry. And as you can see, a little of the black line came off, like I said, with the curler. So I'm just gonna take my liquid liner and I'm just going to, now that the mascara is dry, just cover up where the black line came off. Then I apply lipstick and I'm done. So now I'm gonna lean in and just kind of touch up. You always wanna make sure the wing is still there. You always wanna make sure the little cat is there. Okay, cool. That's looking good. So now we got our little bedhead vibe going. Got our makeup done. Now let's apply little lips. This is my little Bite lipstick that I love. Again, another company that really tries to do the right thing in terms of the ingredients they use. Okay, cool. So now I have to go steam my clothes because they've been smushed into a suitcase. So that is going to be the next thing we're going to do in this getting ready video. Okay, that weird sound that you hear is my travel steamer. It's actually in its last leg. I'm shocked that it works. I've had this thing for years and I love it, and I thought it was going kaput on me and it's not. So we're gonna steam this little lingerie number that I'm gonna wear under my army jacket. So I'm just gonna stand here. So yeah, this is basically me before an event. Just hair, makeup, and then just steaming away. Okay, dressed and ready to go to VidCon. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I got ready, and I will see you soon.